without a doubt, Roblox Pressure has been one of the best horror games that has ever existed on Roblox. The lore behind this game is absolutely incredible, and discovering every single part of it in each of its runs added so much depth to this game. But wait a second. How is a Roblox game supposed to be one of the best horror games I have ever played, even outside of Roblox? I mean, sorry, top 10, maybe you can't forget about Granny. Well, this is going to be a long one, since we'll deep dive through how Roblox Pressure matches nearly every single aspect of a successful horror game and why it landed in my top 3 favorite Roblox games, with second and third being Doors and Forsaken, and first, well, being Pressure. So if you clicked on this video, there's a high chance you live under a rock if you don't know what pressure is. You live under 2 if you don't know what Roblox Doors is. 2 words, Roblox Pressure is literally Roblox Doors. You go through 100 or more doors, and each one encounter, which we will explain later, is around when you would usually encounter Seek in Roblox Doors. There are also entities who are basically ones with Roblox Doors, like the Angler, where it usually comes when the lights flicker, usually because there are angular variants? Ew, this is pinky. We'll talk about her later, but for now, the advice I have, she can come without a warning, especially if you're deaf. You're dead. And that's why you should turn on deaf mode. We will get into all that later. And that's it. Roblox Pressure just has some Seek stuff, Rush and Ambush, and the same gameplay loop as Doors. That's why it's inspired by Doors, which also means Pressure is not a copy of Doors and has its own content. Lovely. So if you don't know what the hell I'm talking about, you can stay here to see the full gameplay of Pressure. You can skip to the next chapter of this video if you know everything. I guess he was spawned in a submarine because he wanted to go on his expedition where he retrieved a crystal coming from a literal god in an underwater facility to get a casheword and escape from prison. And apparently, this is hosted by the company Urban Shade, and not gonna lie, that totally made up name is not bad for a fictional company. You open drawers to collect literally coins from doors until you find the key card. You use this to open door 1, where your gameplay finally starts, and don't go in this purple locker, just don't go in there. When the music stops and or the lights flicker, something is coming. Once you make it past a totally friendly monster, stop hiding. Like seriously, if you're too scared to stop hiding, actually stop. This doesn't make sense. There are more doors. Stop. You're going to get are you stupid or something? You're gonna get kicked out of the locker, which makes sense since you probably have claustrophobia in game, which applies to everyone. But if this green dude comes, get ready. We'll talk about it more once we advance in game. You progress through the doors, avoiding angler by angler until you reach your first grand encounter. This is where the turning point begins and the game changes. The first grand encounter is either parkour, and if you don't make it in time, you die. Falling counts too. Sea chased by underwater, and a gigantic fixed dude who uses his spotlights to track you down in a huge room while you fix 5 generators. Let me break this down real quick. If you find the red entrance, it's the firewall. Basically, you put on a jet suit that makes you parkour like crazy, and once you make it past these practice obstacles, you get ready for a test. By the time I've written the script, the firewall is the hardest ground encounter yet, despite it being nerfed, and I have actually never beaten it. You need intense reaction time, pacing, and skills in order to get past this ground encounter. It also lasts 2 minutes, which feels like the amount of time to complete the entire game to me. Once you somehow make it through, you are asked to put your jet suit back and continue further. But what if the ground encounter was that Seek chase I was talking about? Well, if it was, you'd put on your diving suit and go through tunnels with this AI system yapping to you.
Welcome back, user. Thruster speed has
All
been
of a sudden, you see a giant fish breeze through the tunnel, and once you decide to go further, the chase begins. You travel through endless tunnels, avoiding smoke, fans, and even the fish itself, or abomination, I'd say, since that's the normal way of saying it.
danger.
You must go through this terror for a few minutes straight, fully locked in. You go outside the tunnels, which appear to be more dangerous. Once you complete the abomination chase, you'll fall, lose around 50 HP, and you'll get a crate that will heal you to max HP. Once you made it past that point, there's one more grand encounter. Searchlights also got a Voltus Luminaria that'll try to search for you in this huge map of fixing generators. This time, it's more of a trust game, since the main thing to do to survive searchlights is to hide under objects and not let the spotlight detect you or grab you. With each generator fixed, leaving Searchlight more desperate for food, it gets harder and harder. Once you finish all the generators, the exit opens, and that's it for all the grand encounters. Just don't mess up on the generators. Yes, you can die if you do that. Going room by room type by room type, you need a break for once, right? Well, say hello to this totally fish chill guy. Once you get in the shop, it's basically Jeff's shop, except there's no way to talk to him besides interacting with items. Now, Sebastian is extremely important to the lore, and we will talk about that later. Once you stock up on items, get out the vents. Get the key or then get out the vents, or get back in and out, or in, around, and in. The gameplay only gets harder from here. You're past door 50, but at what cost? There's one more grand encounter, and you have to go through an increased energy spawn rate multiplier, more dangerous room types, and a ridge, which we will talk about later. Once you go to doors 0 to 50 again, you learn about the ridge. This is basically the greenhouse from doors, except every dude's here, including Infestation. Oh, forgot about him and other enemies. Oh. So let's go through a quick monster mash. Oh no. Placeholder, 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 and get past the ridge! The ridge is basically where the game throws everything at you, even its own ambient theme on YouTube says that. By the way, in this game, these soundtracks are crazy fire, so you better check them out on YouTube, on the account, Ren. Once you make it past the quote-unquote greenhouse, you end up in the section. Then you shout out, "I played these games before," when you see it again. Except there's more of them now. I was literally terrified when I saw it happening the end for the first time. Oh yeah, by the way, this is the end. And these soundtracks are low-key fire. Once you finish all 7 generators, avoid the 3 subsides calmly. Please, let me flick the lever, go back, and flick 3 more levers while avoiding smoke and searchlights. Why is this game so hard, dude? And you beat the game. And here's the ending cutscene. No commentary. Skip to this part of the video if you completely want to finish this section. Oh.
Please exit the subway and accommodate manufacturing.
For what?
Come forward with the container. No sudden movements.
Okay, so
Hand it over.
I thought that Alright, so we're gonna hand over the
This
Christmas.
way. Mr. Shade will see you now.
Oh. So who's Mr. Shade? So it's like a personnel, right? Okay, we see a few more Urban Shade dudes. Okay, so this was kind of like just like that.
Would you
What's up,
kindly?
Huh? Oh,
Oh,
sorry, sir.
Good.
fuck. Is that Navy AI? Is that guy right there? Hey, retrieve the crystal. Where's my password? Is that the password?
Move
Where's my
along.
password?
You need to change your clothes and your ticket home.
Oh, man, it's not shaking.
Crazy, huh? Didn't think that throwing several thousand expendables at us would actually work.
Killed
Guess even
three.
if it is,
They
more
killed
bodies
3,000 dudes,
bound to get lucky if you throw enough bodies in
and
there.
I'm like,
I
well,
know,
I'm like,
right? Who knows how they figured out that everything works down there? If I didn't know any better, I'd say
5% of these
this is the start
expendables,
of our game
guys,
day.
are me.
Try again. Let's
Yeah, who
restart. No
died.
good? Too bad. Pay to play again. And again until you figure out how everything works.
Alright.
Shit, man, no way. Imagine
What
if
are you,
we
what are
heard
you,
her giving some people
what
a
are
quote about a second chance. That really did
you?
happen, don't you?
Okay, back screen. Now what? Okay, we get in a truck or a car or vehicle, whatever, and then it's home.
Stand by for confirmation. Confirmed. You're clear to proceed. Enter the vehicle now.
Wow. In the
Get
back seat.
comfortable.
Oh, damn. Man, I got no reward. Like, seriously, what's my cash reward and awareness? To drive. Okay, where are we? Where are we? Oh, we're outside at winter. Yeah, I noticed. I saw this in the lobby. Time we're going home. Okay, we're going turn and going out. And so that it. Oh, there's more?
Yeah, one moment, please. Mr. Shade extends his personal gratitude to you. Prisoner's name. Hey, dude, they didn't even bother getting their name. Anyway, for your performance, your criminal record is being expunged. Funds have been deposited into your bank account as a compensation for a wrongful imprisonment. A news article will be fabricated, published, and shared to rehabilitate your reputation within your local community. Once again, Mr. Shade would like to thank you for your cooperation. Hear that, buddy? You're officially in the clear. Oh, we are all so proud of you.
Okay, so again, right. It's still not over? Man, they put a lot of effort into this. They probably spent like a month in this cutscene. But it's at home?
You arrived. Airport security should grant you all without
Oh, it's
issue.
an airport. So we're going to plane home. Man, this looks so realistic. Oh, the car sound, the streets and everything. Snow. This
And
something
don't
was so
bother
worth the
telling
wait,
anyone what
guys.
you saw. No one will believe you anyway.
Placeholder. So that's it. If you watched the section, hope you enjoyed. But why does all that make this my favorite game? You might think it's 20 entities, stressful doors, grand encounters, and that's all. But there's more to that. Like I said, Pressure already has some crazy lore and backstory, but we will talk about all that later. What hit me the most was the amount of details are in this game. Room types, Easter eggs, references, humor, it all struck to me just so hard. Even though this game is fictional, it just feels too real from how accurate and realistic this door is to the cutscene I just saw. It felt way too immersive. In this chapter, we will dig through everything else in this game that makes it so good. And to note, this game literally has 84 badges, or more if I'm miscounting. 84 badges! That is how many things you can do in this game. And considering the fact that there are way too many ways to die in this game, 4 whole expeditions to unlock more role, and over 1,000 different rooms! Oh man! So there's nothing else to talk about besides the badges of this game, of this start of this huge chapter. The first badge is expendable, which according to Google's dictionary means of little significance when compared to an overall purpose and therefore to be abandoned, which makes sense and fits the theme quite a bit since at the ending cutscene a person says that no one is going to believe you anyways, and that in the beginning these two famous lines pop up. You are expendable. You are not expected to return, which towards my first time playing it scared me a little, and I don't know why, but when expendables are not expected to return, then why do we return? This ain't realistic, or is it? We'll talk about this badge later, and the man behind it is extremely valuable to the lore of the game. There are, of course, badges for dying. 1 deaths, 10 deaths, 25 deaths, 50 deaths, and 100 deaths. 5 milestones basically in deaths. And there's a badge for winning, retrieving the crystal, and going in that submarine. The majorities of the badges are simple, dealing with these monsters. Some are challenges, which you can complete by beating the game. You just have to accept and use the requirements. Use the requirements. You see, the reason why people even dare to play this game a lot is because they want to challenge themselves. Some of these challenges are lockerless, meaning you go to safe spots where enemies cannot catch you or detect you there, but never use lockers. This can unlock certain jumpsuits, which are suits that make you look different in game. It's pretty cool to have those. But besides jumpsuits, some badges can unlock starting gear. If you don't know what that is, on your second run and forwards, you can buy items that will help you throughout your run, and batteries too. However, you need kroner, which is the main currency of the game. Obtained by Roblox, completing some requirements in runs and codes, you might have quite plenty to use. But then there's another problem. That fish dude I talked about, who's basically Jeff from Jeff's shop, or Sebastian, which is his name, does not like it.
Yeah, serious now.
But you see, if you get some badges, which are most challenges, you'll be able to unlock new items for the pre-run shop, which most players call it. And I don't recommend you to buy this unless you're insanely rich, since most of my runs with pre-run shop items just fumble immediately, and I have no idea why. Doing most of these badges are fun and stressful at the same time, including lockerless, which require tremendous luck if you're on safe spots. On other challenges like completing the game without taking damage, without using lights, and or violating the green shrunk to a red one to a purple one before the 25th door is also stressful. And I've never completed these challenges before, even though I have 6 wins. But badges, they're what makes this game insanely replayable, including eating flesh. for hell than 80% of Pressure players mainly come back because they want to torture themselves like I did, which badges highly contribute to. The game only started get about 30 to 40 badges and now has over 80 because of the constant updates it's been getting. But what were these updates? If Pressure was a dead game overall and didn't get any updates, I would have never played it again and there would no longer be my top game. Well, it did get updates, but these updates added an overload of stuff into the game. In fact, so much, it took me days to uncover most of them, starting with when the game was created. February 7, 2023. This was a year and 5 months prior to its release, meaning this game in general took over a year to officially make a release. During this time, Pressure was often open to the public multiple times because the developers wanted to hear feedback from others on how the game was doing before its official release. 3 months started the entire run, even to a rage, and its grand encounters will be replaced by Bodily Schoolhouse. You can get these two badges, the A Plus badge where you complete the game with Bodily chasing you and getting all questions wrong in the grand encounters. However, this is only an April Fool's event and he would later come back in endless mode with the two badges being removed. I can't believe that even before the release itself, the creators of Pressure had to do this. After Pressure closed once again, a trailer released for Pressure's release. This left many people thrilled, including me, but I didn't get to see the trailer. But when it came out, on July 7th, the game rocked, reaching around 35,000 concurrent on average for a couple of weeks. During its release, one grand encounter existed, which is the searchlights. No wonder why it's such an original Pressure creature. There was also no turrets, only one expedition, and not enough jump scares. But one thing stood out, the old-fashioned gameplay that made Pressure feel like it was sort of easier than Doors. Floor 2. That's right, Pressure got so hard that it feels harder than Doors Floor 2 for me, but maybe it's because I'm not used to the old gameplay. I don't know, maybe I might take that back. Roblox Pressure received its first update on August 9, 2024. Although it didn't add too much stuff, it added the painter. Basically, a few personnel stole his computer and used it to force mine Roblox, a cryptocurrency. And do you know what the computer does? You guessed it, paint. That was too obvious. But the biggest mistake they made, let's not deep dive into the lore too much yet, but Painter controls some systems and took revenge, I think. Every time you open a fake door or do from doors, you meet the good people. Just hear breathing from behind the door or see sparks in front of the door number, that's a trap, and it's apparently controlled by Painter. Same with the turrets, which were used to track down the bad people, I guess, and not any personnel. However, Painter took control of it and hijacked the systems. Now I understand why this AI system hates this dude. So the next time you see these turrets, they're not for the safety. And apparently, you can meet this dude in his room type called Heavy Containment, where 90% of the lore lies in this game. He's a bit rare, but I promise you can find him. I mean, today you can find him everywhere guaranteed, but back then, he was quite rare. And now, in this update, instead of flashing Sebastian and him yelling at you constantly, he now...
Don't do that again.
So be careful when you're trying to
I warned you.
do that, and do not touch this remote. Please. Also, jumpsuits. The Graveyard was considered one of the most controversial updates yet. It participated in this Roblox event called the Halloween. I forgot, but it was a Halloween event. But Pressure got tricked, and it was a fashion show where you take pictures of your Halloween costumes instead of top experience shows. Yeah, they added a complete new addition in this update called the Graveyard, which is insanely buggy at the start, but soon the bugs are fixed. But this did annoy players a lot but there was an update so controversial that it changed the lights to dexterity ratio by like 1.5%, and we'll get to that soon. This update consisted of 4 parts. The first part is a safe chase but 10 minutes long. You get a flashlight and you start with being asked to shut down this party, but there's this skeleton dude who thinks you violated the dress code and the dress code in general. Once you get past a totally not British skeleton, you go through 10 or more rooms while being chased by the skeleton, and apparently he's called the Bouncer. What a cool name. You collect this expedition's currency, which is soda or drinks apparently, while being surrounded by dancing skeletons. Once you make it past, the skeleton is insanely pissed off, and you go through the entire graveyard with 3 of his giant sked health, I don't even know how to pronounce it thing, and thousands of skeletons vibing and hanging out. And then you are asked to go to the catacombs or sewage systems, as I should say. You are being chased by a centipede or a centipede with a skeleton head and body. Nice try, devs. Basically, this guy will also change you and might even charge even. And you have to go about 10 doors with one room having this door. Once you open it, you can get yourself a drink for extra HP and a very rare artifice badge, but you need 1500 of those. Wow. Sorry if I'm delaying so much, but the thought of so many skeletons. I have one tip here. Juke. Yeah, juke. And get to shore if you're scared. Once you officially made it past, you go through a scary section. Shine the lights at these totally not moving statues and go through 10 doors while hearing music that's not named Nightmare. Yeah, it's not named Nightmare, guys. Lowercase. Am I right? Now you're back here. Follow the path with 2 bouncers chasing you. Go to the church. Collect the documents explaining why they're important later. Get up the church and beat the game. On December 14, 2024, 4.5 was one of the biggest updates of 2024. It added a load of new content, including these stone-licking dudes from the graveyard, or should I call it candle bearers, into the main expedition or Halo Black side. And apparently, there's a giant one they added, which we'll dive into later, but this update literally featured an endless mode. Basically, you go through infinite doors, and right now, my all-time high is 110 doors, technically 144, because somebody disconnected the Wi-Fi and the game didn't get the same progress. Endless mode also had 3 badges, where you open 100 doors, 250 doors, and 500 doors. And there's the sea bunnies they added, which are basically traders. You give them an item, and they give you an item back from the warden. Just be careful though. Unfortunately, I wasn't designed for luck when I explored this update, so I never found any sea bunnies. But I'm pretty sure I did find this room type. This is the drench room type, I think, where that stupid skeleton fish thingy appears as a shark with the exact same mechanics, except when it catches you, you have to spam Q or E to get out. And be careful when you're opening drawers. When you revive, you spawn here, and man, what even is this? Some sort of entrance back to reality? Well, there is an entrance here, and they added new items. The first one is the sprint or SPR-INT, which is used to sprint at the cost of 2 health, which doesn't seem like a bad deal. It did save me once from the stupid candle bear dudes one time, so it is quite helpful. The second one is a cocktail, I guess, which is used to heal all the way to max HP. Man, there's so much in this update. And you know this room type where there's a bunch of trees and all that? Well, now it's a challenge, and it's forcing you to do something not for this long. And this room, oh man, not only this gigantic room is chasing you in a huge room with a chance to literally crash out, you have to find a keycard. And this is why you need code breachers, like literally. If you're in this room for too long, heck no. This room can spawn in any room type, but if it spawns in heavy containment, you know you're cooked. You know these doors take forever to open, right? Well, firstly, you need a keycard to even open the door, and you have to juke him in the hardest way possible before you get in. That's why I revived on my first ever win since the Worth the Wait update. Worth the Wait update features a whole variety of stuff, including a lobby expansion, new grand encounters, 7 new baggers, and even an entire new friend. Oh wait, now you're yelling at me for not including the most controversial update yet? Okay, let's go, okay. Uh, so Roblox Pressure took place in another event called the Hunt Mega Edition. This included another event and it's way too boring and you have to focus a lot. So let me do a quick summary. You spawn with the flashlight and the infinite flash beacon, and once you open a new few doors, you come across him. He's a weeping angel, so yeah, you know what to do, I guess. You also have to fix 5 hidden radios. You might think that it's impossible, but this guy literally lets you do anything that's impossible. He even helps you to get up when you fall to his eye-catching trap. Whenever he hides in a locker, something is coming. You must hide too. Then the guy who's coming will be like, "No, I failed to get someone again. I want to tour my..." And this dude, he comes from the walls. He will run at you and you must find him and flash him with your beacon once he runs away in fear. So that's it. Once you finish your 5 generators within 40 dying doors, you can get the normal token, which you can do by going forwards or taking the side. You will be met by a staircase, a tram leading to the vault, which is not guarded by the exact same bootsman down there at witching hour. Do not let him get you. This is why you have 10 minutes and some VIPs from Squid Game watching you falter. So you're in the mantle, I guess, and you have to collect 30 of these orb thingies for all the entities to surrender. But here's the twist. Every 7 of these orb thingies you connect, the bar at the top fills up skull by skull, which means that it got more dangerous. More entities are coming, you need an oxygen tank, and literal lava pours out the ceiling. At this point, it was so difficult that we literally respawned at the start of the vault itself. Once you manage to collect all 30, you go down this hole that leads you to the vault. Once you collect this mega token, you get glitched and get sent back to the hunt. And I understand why this update was so hatred and dislikes starting pouring in. Don't get me wrong, there's not much to talk about since everybody really ignored this update. But it's basically now about pressure. I don't even think it got past 3 AM in the first night. This update was one of the biggest updates in pressure history. Finally introducing the new grand encounters, new imaginary friend, the present, which you guys should already know, and it took over 6 months to make, which makes sense of why this is called Worth the Wait, as I'm making the script in this video. Only part 1 came out, and dude, it's already worth the wait. The fact that there are 4 parts, downright 4 parts of this update is crazy. Anyways, here's what all the parts will feature. You done reading? Okay, and part 4 is the biggest one yet, which in simple terms no longer makes you go one direction if going to doors acts like a line. It just generates rooms forwards, but what if it generates rooms from backwards and to the sides? Well, here's what they're cooking. They want to make the rooms branch out, and I don't know what's going to happen if you get voided or low-peed, and I think this is gonna make the gameplay a whole lot livelier. Apparently, if you have to find the correct path that will lead to the next quadrant. Now each quadrant features a roaming entity, and they say that the no monsters are no longer the main threat. I don't know how I'm even gonna get used to this gameplay anyways, and I don't really like how it looks. But don't judge a book by its cover. In gameplay terms, maybe this is gonna make the game a whole lot better. I don't know. Well, that's it for the history of pressure. I mean, this is a really long sub-chapter, I suppose. Well, in this game, apparently there are 6 endings. 1 where you die, get the secret ending, and 4 other endings that are winning runs of 3 different expeditions and 1 sub-expedition. Let's break it down. Once you do all that and escape from searchlights, you're asked to go in a submarine. Yeah, go in a submarine. You go in and push the button. You're all set and completed the game. Easy and short, right? For the end. Well, you probably died to an unfair load, Monster Sugar or the Anglers and Pandemonium, or just that minigame dude I was talking about earlier, or didn't look back.
Yeah.
Well, you meet this dude, and you might recognize him by his voice. Yup, he's Sebastian. He shows you a document detailing of what he died of. Hope it's not squirrels. Oh yeah, you were then married a screen where you can revive, go back to the lobby or restart, and check more info of who you died to, and you run. Well, you know that annoying and poor computer guy, Painter? Well, it turns out, once you find this exact turret room, in front of you is Painter's room. Just avoid the turrets and now you're fine. For now, find a key card where he will open where Painter's concealed at and rescue him. When not already totally rescued a good boy, his daddy Sebastian will chase you. You might even hear him at the scene one time. Well, now you have to get to the range. You might notice some things off, like searchlights missing, firewall deactivated, turrets not working out a lot more. But once you finish the range, what? Why is Angler here? Oh, well, I did it. Okay, what is happening? Huh? What's opening the door? Well, is it because I carried Painter? Sebastian.
You.
Oh, what is happening?
You could have had everything you ever wanted. Everything I ever wanted. And you still went out of your way to take everything I had left in the process. You entitled brat.
What happened with that, bro? I just stole your little computer.
Keep smiling as if nothing ever happened.
I just stole your little computer, little Selby.
Grinning ear to ear.
What are you doing?
Start with that
What are you doing, bro?
Schlock. You knew what you were doing all too well. Sure took your sweet time. Enjoyed every last second of it. Good. Excellent, even. I'll merely return the favor. And you bet I'll be enjoying every last moment of this.
Oh. You scared the black side walls, carrying Painter?
I get to do this
No.
over.
What did I do? I just stole your computer from you. You went to your next expenditure by another one. Please, no, don't kill me. Don't kill me. No. What did I do? I swear, I'll forgive you. I'll pay you $10 million. Please, don't kill me. Don't kill me. I did everything for you. I did research. What? Oh!
What is it this time?
Oh! It's got vaporized! Oh, and that's it. He will forget, they will all forget. You serve a purpose greater than you realize. Stick to the script. Yeah, guys, don't destroy Painter. He might be your enemy, but he's your best friend. I will say. Failure. That's still traumatizing me. Help. I don't think this has an ending. Flick the lever and some random helicopter will pick you up. Once you finally make it past all the rooms and get to this one, it will finally salute and give up. You get to the submarine and collect the token and you're fine. The vault ending once again requires you to fix 5 radios and get out the main expedition. Now find a random door, open it, get down the stairwell into the tram and you're now here. Get all these parts, remember it gets deadlier the more you collect and escape. It's probably something pulling you back, but you'll be fine. Well, that's it for this huge chapter, I guess. I know that there's some other things we're talking about, like extremely rare rooms, but I'm too lazy. You know what? Let's talk about that actually. Roblox Pressure features way too many different rooms, and some of them are references to games outside of Roblox, like SCP Containment Breach, Iron Log, and Ultra Kill. For some reason, the amount of Easter eggs in this game, hidden rooms, and references just made this zoo more entertainingly alive. But with that out of the way, there's some main ones. The Valkyla Void Mass room. Oh, dude, this room is insanely rare. The first time I found it was when I played a 4.5 update, and there's a document for that too. Collect it if you find this room, I guess. And ignore this giant egg in its center. Hope Seek's not in it. An anomaly you can find is sticks in the mindscape. I have no idea how I find sticks or this giant spear thingy with the 67-meter open mouth in it on my first day of playing this, but I never saw footage of this guy in a long time, so maybe it's removed or made rarer, but the mindscape literally sent me chills. There's a chance you might encounter his room or him itself, and he's a white shadow. That's it. But if you read the first sentence of his document, he's apparently an astral plane that goes beyond his border worlds. And if you read what astral means in Google, it says relating to a supposed non-physical realm of existence which the various physical and paranormal phenomena are ascribed, and in which the physical human body is said to have a counterpart. And hearing this music while reading this, hell no! Stands also are really well known one, especially if you find this room, which is an obvious reference to the game Identity found in Roblox. Don't touch him. I can't remember if I found this one, hope I did. The Angler variant, Fogger, or Ambush, is also a reference to Iron Long. That's why it looks so scary. If you find Runner or Ambuscade or Russian Ambush or literally doors entities, the game is going crazy because you traveled so far in endless mode. Baldi will also be summoned. There are a few rooms that are straight up what? This room is a form of game developing joke rooms, and this one is one of them. And this is the other. Great job, Nico. And this other one where you can set in the firewall running counter course. What? I managed to punch him an undefined amount of times. Thank you, game. A reference to Ultra Kill is his boss's voice lines. Can't remember the lane, but whatever. Apparently, this guy Gianni voiced these lines, and the same thing applies to Sebastian. Don't play Pressure at 3 a.m., guys, please.
Hey, it's me, Gianni, telling you, dear little Roblox player, to go to...
And don't enable him. There are also rooms in heavy containment, so here's a quick montage. So yeah, additionally, we are not done yet. Be patient. There are 2 artifice badge rooms. Unless you have the artifice badge, never open this door on the chest, because once you do, you lose 99 HP and gain the badge. Now this room, you need $12.50 to get a party special from a skeleton artifice. I don't know why, but although there's like 9 other ways to get this badge, I just got it from opening that chest. And that wraps up this section. Wow, so many rare rooms. Pretty amazing, right? My throat hurts. Or chapter. Since we're finally moving to chapter 3. Okay, cut. My throat hurts. Let me get water. Now we're digging into the themes of this game, which includes soundtracks, ambience, and visual themes. To be honest, this game did really well on that. There's a reason why Pressure has thousands of audio files turned into hundreds of thousands of parts, and why the soundtracks have millions of views as of now. I literally have no words with how all this is placed, but hey, at least I'm generating some for this video. Firstly, we have to talk about the soundtracks. These are probably the best soundtracks in Roblox game history, close to taking over the OG. You can't replace the OG songs, but other than that, These songs can literally be replaced in your mind for a long time, ever thinking about this game. Like, take a listen to some. These soundtracks also low-key fit in so well with what's going on. For example, the Searchlight's Gone Encounter theme. Also, Eyes in the Skies feels exactly like that. When I listen to this song, I feel like I'm floating or trying to do tasks while a gigantic creature is trying to eat me from up top. Furthermore, two songs at the end should also deserve a W, since these songs are what changed my mind about this game. The old one felt like I wasn't even playing Roblox anymore. Rip to the old one, it was fire, but the new one felt like I wasn't even playing a regular game anymore. It felt more like Steam. Another example is the Pandemonium soundtrack. You don't hear a typical angler? Well, it's not even an angler nor a variant. It's this giant fish-eyed creature that has eyes unless they are anglers that which can't see you from a distance. Yes, if you stay far enough, the anglers won't even get you. But for Pandemonium or this creature can detect you from an infinite distance, meaning you're forced to hide behind a wall if you're not using lockers. But lower side, this creature literally knows you're in a locker. Once he finds you, he tries to open it, but you stop it by playing this minigame. Basically, you must put the circle in the middle to add time, and if it's outside, you lose time. If you lose all of the time, he opens your locker. It's a pretty easy minigame, right? Until you hear the beat drop. I know, right? So scary. Now it's time for the soundtracks you could hear when you start a run. These soundtracks feel perfect for starting a run, and sometimes it gives me shivers. It's a perfect way to let you know that after you open enough doors, something is coming, and your biggest regret is standing still, right there. The angler comes. The music stops. See? It's a perfect way to add depth to the game. Starting soundtracks are the perfect way to prepare the player for what's coming next. Don't know why Roblox Doors doesn't have that. Anyways, I think we're done with music here. Good job, devs. Hear that? Oh, it's hard to scare you. If you don't know, ambience is one of the key building blocks in order to make a horror game a horror game. It's basically the sounds the devs put on purpose in order to give the player distress and unease. For example, if you're playing a game at an abandoned kids center and all of a sudden you hear, "If you're happy and you know it, can you end? If you're happy." That's literally gonna scare me to the point that I call my daddy Sebastian to reach out. Yeah. But do ambient sounds really happen? Well, it's so obvious, guys. Not at all. It just tricks your brain into thinking that something is coming. It did once since I heard screeches and thought it was an ambient sound until Pinkie Pie came in and destroyed me. Okay, seriously. Anyways, Pressure literally has like 200 ambient sound files with some being unknown music in the background, false turrets, and some random monster moving. And it comes from a direction which makes it even scarier because the player will think whatever that sound is real, especially if you hear it in dark rooms or behind doors. If you don't include ambient sounds in your horror games, your game is literally gonna fall like you got violated from Mount Everest. I'm not joking, ambient sounds are such important things in horror. Anyways, back to Pressure. Pressure uses ambient sounds so well that it's the sole reason why players are anxious. For some reason, the game also knows when to be completely silent to freak the player out even more. Ambient sounds are sometimes used to trick the player that a threat is coming. In fact, this is perfect for new players as they think noises are just ambience or monsters while they're not. I don't even know how the devs did this, and I hold nothing but 13 days worth of applause. Sorry, doors. Finally, I forgot to mention this, the precious ambient sounds are actually so terrifying. Like, here's some actual scary ones right here real quick. I don't know how this game has so much realism. How did it cook so hard with the ambient noises when it quote unquote say painter? The music seems fine until it distorts when you say the painter. And the most terrifying part, you could hear Sebastian screaming at the destruction a few minutes later, and now he knows the victim who destroyed it, and he's coming.
Promise. No! No! What did they do? What did they do?
And now the game feels much scarier. The ambience of Sebastian freaking out to a computer and coming from you, with the distorted ambient music in the background, it's safe to say that we can move on. Overall, Pleasure's main theme is an underwater type of theme where the player is facing the underwater facility, seeking as much research it possibly can, and retrieving the god object. Like seriously, how did this lore even get here? The soundtracks and ambient noises are also differently than wanting to be used, and the visuals? Firstly, all the things they made are not even textures from Roblox itself, besides the fun little dev rooms. The graphics are just straight up fire for a Roblox game like this, and the sound effects feel way too immersive. They just fit in so well with the game and what's going on. Also, you could go underwater by the way, and it did not have to make the water so realistic in a new update. Sounds muffled too. Like what? When this game has so many details, I'm getting surprised that they made all this, including the Baldi April Fool's event, within just 1.5 years. Basically with 101% creativity with this, I made so much. Now I understand why it was so fun to make all that. Man, I wish I knew scripting and knew how to model like them. Now for the other expeditions. Here we got Endless Mode. The theme? It's the exact same and goes on forever. If you're doing a 1,000-door run, be careful with this dev entities and Rich Mode. Yeah, the lights go out at door 400. The only difference at the start is that you spawn in an abandoned room, and according to the lore, it's also an abandoned part of the black site. You have no access to any AI that will help you. The Raider Expedition literally has some music with the Vitamin, and it's not underwater this time. The Hunt Expedition, focus mode, that's it. Now for the lobby. I swear this game's lobby is probably one of the best ones I've seen for a Roblox game. Sure, Roblox stores might have more of the vibe since it has an outside, but ever since Worth the Wait Part 1 update, this thing leveled up by a ton. Firstly, this is where you spawn, where all of your terror started. It looks small, right? But when you step out, you'll change your mind completely. You're in a large docking area with some marines that start your expedition, and some differently limits the amount of people that will participate, maybe. You first see the screen at the start. Basically, you're a prisoner, but if you want to be set free, you must beat pressure and get $10 million in cash or more. I forgot. Or less. And then we got these two lines. You obviously know what they are. The background music also fits in too, and dragged me into the submarine when playing the game for the first time. The lobby also has many sections on decoration and Easter egg. Firstly, you might come across these stairs that will lead to different sections of the compartment. One will lead to these random rooms, and another will lead to this room with a bunch of cargo, and another will lead to outside where it's snowing, cool view by the way, and another will lead down to where the Slenderman lives. And if you go in these heavy containment doors, I already said this too many times, but you will find very scary dudes. I think I said it wrong. So for the final sub-chapter for this chapter, I want to do an honorable mention for the art of this game. It's amazing, detailed, and why does it no longer feel like a Roblox game again? So most of the art was done for the badges, game icon, and game images too. I don't know. Get new players to play the game or impress some random expendables. Here's some of the art done by the devs. It's a masterpiece, and they're just putting a lot of pressure into it, huh? Also, look at the worth the wait art. It's really fit into the theme of the game, and it is extremely detailed. You can see the weeping angel guy, Painter, Sebastian, and the other entities. Man, this game. So this is the end of the chapter. I know it was a little short, but it was an opinion. But it was my opinion on how the gameplay goes and basically the theme of the entire game. Visual realism, soundtracks, ambience, and all that stuff. But what do all these come from? In fact, when did this urban shit corporation even begin? Well, start a chapter editor, who's also me. You know what? Just start. You see, this is where the game gets good. All of these other well-made horror games must have some lore, and it's about how we even got here in the first place. And even better, lore accurate. Basically, if you find mythological horror demons in a horror game, despite the lore saying that you're on Earth with none of these creatures existing, if the lore said that they came from an unknown spaceship that hit Earth and aliens freaked out since the monster cages broke on impact and they killed the aliens, escaped and roamed the area, that's sort of lore accurate, right? I mean, it could happen on Earth today, there's a possibility, but who knows? For pressure though, the lore feels realistic and fits into the game too well. Like, it's perfect. Nearly perfect. As there might be some things that came out of nowhere and ain't real anyways. But whatever. If you want to learn more, just simply click on the button, the folder thingy icon at the lobby, and you can learn a lot more if you die to entities and collect these documents. And 93% of the stuff I mentioned here comes from the documents itself, so it's safe to say that Roblox Pressure has so much lore, it even made itself a fandom where you could read about in-game stuff if you unlock all the threats and random things. You see, it all started in 1962 where this person called Mr. Shade made a research company called Urban Shade. Basically 70,000 studs under an underwater facility was built, and how did they make this with this amount of pressure? Well, this is the lead van zone where the facility lies. However, it has some special modification where although the pressure is insanely high that deep in typical terms, it was the depth of a swimming pool in this area. So they chose to build a facility there. Firstly, after that huge discovery, they made the ridge since it was under locks and the easiest section of the facility to build, which makes sense. The ridge was a success since it was too easy. Then they went backwards and started to build the facility outwards. In the ridge, the lights they used were emergency lights to save cash, and at the heart of the entire facility where the crystal lies, you know the crystal came from the god Thor, right? But that thing is actually so powerful, it can power the entirety of Europe for eternity. I don't know why Urban Shade even put the crystal there in the first place. Like, use something else, like generators or something. And the fact that there's still dark rooms although the crystal is in place, bruh. So they continue building outwards for decades until they finally reach room 100 or the very start of the game. I could see why the update make the door number go backwards. So they were done with the construction of the Halo Black side. Meanwhile though, they forgot to construct a part of the Black side, and now it's called the Hunting Expedition according to them. They also try to find what creatures lie down there, and this is where all the lore about monsters sink in. In the lead van zone, a lot of these monsters you'd see in your pressure run existed. Urban Shade discovered these undiscovered species and decided to cage these monsters in these tubes and study them. They found certain species like the angler and its variants, pandemonium, and many others. That's why basically coins from doors are called research, because they can contain notes or DNA of some entities. As Urban Shade explored more of the lead Van Zone to gather more and more research, they found a prisoner known for murdering 9 people. 9 people! So they experimented on them, of course, trying to insert DNA from a fish so they could breathe underwater. And this prisoner's name is none other than Sebastian. Great, so now they see Sebastian caged and experimented on, but that would probably be the biggest mistake that Urban Shade has ever made. Ever. However, aside from actual human being getting experimented on by Urban Shade scientists, Urban Shade was a total success. They successfully captured all of these creatures, has a 100-year facility insanely deep down the ocean, so deep that even lava emerges, and even has an island that comes from the god Thor itself. They even found a subspecies of a sea bunny that is way bigger than its typical size and turned it to a pet that calls into Urban Shade personnel all the time and could trade. But all that changed when his exact experiment woke up. Things were going all too well. For over 50 years, yes, 50 years, Urban Shade did whatever research they could do until 2015. When they experimented on Sebastian, at one point around 2015, this experiment woke up and took its hardest revenge possible. Mainly, the experiment was guarded by tons of personnel, but when he woke up, there was only an elite guardsman that was guarding it. Urban Shade had made a big mistake. To add on to their problems, Sebastian was falsely accused of murder and never killed 9 people. This entire time, he was innocent. After he woke up, he killed that elite guardsman and freed every single thing that Urban Shade was experimenting on. Now they roam the black site. About a decade later, you are a prisoner and you have a deal. Either go through the insanely dangerous black site to win $10 million or more and less, or set free from prison, or stay. You signed up, so now you go. Countless expeditions were already set up according to this guard here, and Urban Shade is counting on it to retrieve the crystal ASAP since it's literally a part of God and they definitely do not want it guarded by entities. Now you would think that almost all these entities will cause no harm, but there's a reason why most of the expeditions failed. The monsters were hostile and easily foraged their prey using certain abilities no creatures could ever have. But what are these abilities? Well, first, let's dive into one of the biggest threats of pressure as of right now, and these are the anglers. The angler is a node entity, which, if you don't know what it is, let me explain. Roblox stores are what mainly made node entities popular, and in Roblox stores, the 2 entities classified as node entities are rush and ambush, since they try to search the player in exposed areas a certain amount of times before they give up. Correct me if I'm wrong. Let's start off with this default variant. The angler's main variant is a node entity, of course, and according to all sorts of things I saw, it's blind. That's the reason why it cannot kill you from a certain distance. They use echolocation, which is used by animals they cannot see. Basically, they use sound, and if any reflects, that's their prey. The levels of echolocation may vary by each angler, so be careful about how far you're hiding, since some might have hitboxes bigger than you think. Now here's what the documents say. For the first variant, which is Blitz, they consider it that the time it takes to come within the blink of an eye because of how fast it is. The jump scare itself is customized, and here's what it looks like. See? The last recorded frames with the camera you're using. So cool! Additionally, the document also says the lights may flicker for longer, which is convenient since without that signal, you'd have no time to hide. And lastly, you might hear a background noise like this before it comes. So yeah, you'll make it to him at the ridge. Don't worry, maybe turn on rear mode or which you can see it and hear it coming. I forgot to tell you what deaf mode is, but it's basically pressure for deaf users. You might see a little vignette that comes up when entities come, and its color associated with what the angular variant is, and you can see a lot more things on the screen, like footsteps, the direction of the keycard, and more, maybe. The Pinky variant is the slowest lower identity and more proof comes towards its document. Basically, it might detect less, but it's also stealthy. You might hear terrifying screeches without lights flickering it at all. And that's what they call Pinky. This monster literally looks scary as hell, but Blitz looks way scarier. Hell no! And here is Pinky's jump scare. Ain't no way, dude. The Froger variant is classified as a frogfish, and it's of course inspired by Iron Lung. This creature looks terrifying, like straight up disgusting at this point. They really did a great job making this. According to the document, this hell of a monster can turn back instead of continuing forwards, like he wants to be more sure. Then he prepares a second attack where he just straight up charges insanely fast to ambush the player. The document who also says to get inside side rooms for guaranteed safety, which I really agreed on since lockers can be more risky. Now, I don't want to go out of family friendliness here, so let's just call it Variant C. Variant C is extremely slow, so all you have to do is to wait a bit before you can get in to prevent its fear from kicking you out, right? Well, there are a few more, there are more than just fears to that. Variant C literally produces gas like a trigger all sorts of fears. That's what the document tells you to hide in the locker as soon as you see it, or just get in the side room. A jump scare? Sounds a sort of unique, check this out. Also, that is Paranoia's box, which is very well connected to Variant C, and we will talk about all that later. So this wraps up the Angler variants. However, there's another Angler variant. Or is it a variant? Well, isn't it an angry in the first place? Well, you already know. So the lights flicker, but it's only a normal angler. Instead, you hear this. But we'll dive into all that later. Pandemonium, or its codename being Z-367, is basically angler, but even more hostile according to the document. While expanding the black side throughout these decades, in 1965 they discovered an undiscovered creature and called it Z-367 or Pandemonium. Since they realized that it was very aggressive, like actually very aggressive, they avoided it since it was definitely did not want to interrupt them. However, Pandemonium's territory was way bigger than they thought, and while they were expanding it, it was too late. They were literally forced to go through its territory, and at one point the worst happened. A species of Pandemonium broke into the black side and severely injured personnel, even killing some. This aggression soon led to the document's advice being less helpful. It doesn't want to even say anything about the minigame itself. The things it tells you to do is to get good at hiding and seek a side room, since this dude has eyes. Yup, it has eyes, and can detect it from an infinite distance, even inside lockers. So that's why you even have to do a minigame to piss up Pandemonium so that he leaves. So yeah guys, if you want a better safety, get in a side room or a Pandemonium safe spot for guaranteed safety, because this dude definitely thinks his species rules the world. Welcome to Sneak Attacks, where you... Okay, that was a joke, but just because you survived Pandemonium doesn't mean it's over yet, since the lights can flicker again. I don't know if this completely ignores the no timer, and if you don't know what the no timer is, let me cook. It's an invisible timer dedicated to when the no enemies will spawn. Every time you open it will skip a bit, so no, don't take it like if you the next angle is coming in 20 minutes. Since because I'm 99.97% sure that usually does not happen. And Pandemonium is pretty rare too, usually appearing a maximum of 2 times a run, so you're good. Don't worry.
Your speed has been adjusted to your preference.
Or Navigation AI is an AI system in pressure built in 1979 that guides personnel through the Halo backside. Basically, Navi AI is that one AI system that you ask about what you're going to do in the spawn encounters. Crazy, right? But Navi AI just at least have some lore. Navi AI is actually quite helpful to urban shape personnel based on a document. I'm pretty sure it also lists out what room you're in the Halo backside. When this thing was constructed, it was heavily dealt or admired, I think, by Mr. Shade, ever since Mr. Shade died in 2005, Navi AI basically tried to take his voice, and that's why Navi AI's voice feels colder. Now Navia has its own room. This room is huge, by the way, and the amount of service Navia has shows how much it has done to all of the Urban Shade personnel. So far, Navia is the reason why this game is even expired by Roblox doors, but there's one problem. Painter. Now, the reason why Painter was such a big issue to Navi is because obviously he's a hijacker. Painter had one option, which is to, well, he asked Sebastian to help him escape, and Sebastian said yes. For years now, they have planned out what to do and even partnered with innovation labs. During that time, though, Painter hijacked into Navi systems. You know how these turrets, searchlights, and other things are controlled by Navi AI? That's right. Painter literally ran at the speed of light into Navi AI, got him a concussion, and took control of all of his systems because they both wanted to delay the retrieval of the crystal as much as possible to increase their chances of succeeding. A deep dive into Sebastian and Painter will be featured after we get past heavy containment, which will be a quick summary since there are like 26 other documents there. Since there's too much lore in this game, a deep dive about it will take hours to uncover them, so let's start with the good people. The good people actually know is due from Roblox stores, but basically, you would find two doors with the exact same door number instead of different ones, and you would have to hear growling behind the door. However, the good people are not just any good people. It's a partnership between the monster behind the door and Z-779 or Painter. Right after you get physically violated by Z-13, Painter hijacks Navi door and number system and shows himself also mentally violating you after you get physically violated. But you know what does the exact same? Wall dwellers and a divine. Basically, wall dwellers are the social media influencers who attack surrounding people in the walls of California's buildings and even Beverly Hills too. They just took their inner walls to a whole new perspective. Crazy, right? But Urban Shade, like all dumb things they do, took this creature and studied it. And no, this didn't happen before the lockdown, which makes it even worse. So now you might hear totally now ambient footsteps behind you, and the person behind you is literally one of the few creatures that was experimented on after the lockdown. And even worse, if you don't look back, you die. Yup, he eats you, you die. You can eat him though. Now for the divine. It's basically statues of vines, or is it? When a few logging workers went to the Amazon forest to do their jobs, they weren't aware that these creatures existed. When they go to their plots, they attack or execute you. That's what they did. Wow. After their demise, urban shell workers took as many as they could to produce oxygen for the black side, as they can literally produce oxygen faster than trees do. So because of its discovery, you can breathe in the black side. So the answer is, don't go to the grass or they... Wait. To clarify my mistake that urban shit nerds were all screaming at me for, yes, the Hail Black Side was completed in 1974. I was, 2 ways to let on my edit my script and didn't know that this huge 100 plus room underwater facility, like 70,000 studs deep, took that much time to make. It's like 14 years. Or 12. The lockdown was approximately 50 years after the Hail Black Side was finished. Dang, it's kinda sad to see how a research division was successful for decades, but died out because of one creature who was falsely accused of murder. But why does this remind me of... No. So where did I get this information, huh? Well, Searchlights, or the Voltus Luminaria, is a creature that existed 80 million years ago and was never discovered until this division discovered the Red Van Zone in 1961, or a year I think, before they constructed the Hail Black Side. However, a year after they finished constructing the Black Side, they studied searchlights. They discovered that the species were 80 million years old, they were giant, weighing 180 tons, and came up with some survival tips. That's it. Now, normally searchlights are rare and only encountered by accident, and people underwater discover and capture them. However, it's mainly controlled by Painter, and that is why that room where you fix 5 generators has a literal Voltus Luminaria above you. Same with the ending. Without Painter, this power wouldn't even exist. Here's proof.
Doing? Help!
Credits to this guy though. Now we know what else is controlled by Painter. Well, there are systems that are controlled by Pinner that have Navi AI functions, such as the firewall and abomination encounter, and these, well, are the ground encounters of the game basically. First of all, let's get into the abomination ground encounter. It was the last known species of the Americanus voyus, and its codename is Z-264. According to the document, Urban Shed first encountered the species during an excursion in the Everglades while investigating an unrelated anomaly. While the procedure was going on, this dude came out of nowhere and ambushed them, and now it roams on the black side in some underwater sections. And here's some extra tips to survive him. Pause to read. Okay, but still, that ambush was personal, bro. How the heck did that happen? Moving on, the jet suit evaluation course, or the firewall ground encounter, consists of serious parkour while being chased by a massive firewall. And the reason why it's literally on is you already know, guys. Painter enabled it. And now Navi AI looks like it lied to you, and you might hate him until you see that Painter tool in the middle of the room. Now the lore for this thing is a bit like the VIPs from Squid Game. Basically, people watch a tournament that is hosted by Urban Shade and repeats every 3 months. That tournament is the firewall, and anyone who wins gets a sticker, but anyone who gets eliminated. Moving on, we finally have a way to that does not come from an entity, and that is environmental threats. Basically, there might be some malfunction with the hail backside, like electricity, random pits of lava, these critters that swarm when you're swimming in the dark, and smoke. In order to avoid these, just avoid them. It's that simple. And how did they get here? Bro, they got here naturally. How do you not know? If you not know, things can be broken sometimes, but imaginary friend. Simple. A new work with most were sold that scare kids to their death because they imagined a not so imaginary friend that crept up to them. An urban chick got to their routines and added as much as they can for the black side, like 500 of them. Wow, Urban Shade. And I think that wraps up the threats Urban Shade collected. Wow, they severely underestimate what they even get at this point. Heavy Containment literally contains the most Easter eggs and hidden things that are unrelated to the lore. However, some can literally change how pressure even works, like the Paranoid's box. Heavy Containment is obviously a room type inspired by SCP Containment Breach, and it might be the most creative room types in the game. They're literally cooked. In fact, Heavy Containment's room type is so significant to the game's devs that it has its own entrance, like the one you'd see at the start of the ridge. Heavy Containment literally shows the most Easter eggs and references in this game than all of the rooms combined. I bet it'll take another 5 hours to uncover everything. Let's do a quick summary. Aside from the lore here, we got Painter. We've talked about this, but this time his main room is in Heavy Containment, surrounded by servers, and has a different theme to it. And once again, never get in this room, please. Despite each of the rooms being insanely big and hard to deal with, especially if it's that counter booth room or a keycard room, and it's insanely safe too from known entities, I gotta say. In fact, most of the room has safe spot from anglers, and even ones for pandemonium, since most of these rooms have side rooms. I could have just hiked it when I was literally being chased by a smoking train. Okay, well, that's it. I haven't covered like 20 minutes of not so detailed lore yet, and that is not even half of the entire Roblox game, so I have to give it the pressure, bro. If we enter these side rooms, there's a chance that there's a document inside explaining what the heck you're seeing, these references, and this one. My analog horror Christmas tree is pretty rare, and the document has a Z-2512, and you know why it's named that and all the Christmas wishes coming from a few Urban Shade personnel? Another document is the Paranoid's box document, the most iconic one in Heavy Containment. Similar to the C variant of Angular, it produces green smoke which triggers people's fears very aggressively. That's why it's reasonably rare and is locked by a door that can be unlocked with code breachers. And yeah, another document in the Heavy Containment is the imaginary friend one. It has 5 remotes and probably a document there as well. Correct me if I'm wrong, since I forgot some of the stuff. And yet another document is Stan. You just find one of his rooms or whatever in the heavy containment room, and yeah. In the heavy containment, there's so many other Easter eggs and references you could find, but there are like 72 of them. I can't uncover these today. Anyways, here's a little montage of some of these things that I found, and 2 words, I guess.
I hate you!
And definitely just the 4 or more documents that you could find in heavy containment. Even heavy containment has an exit the exact same as its entrance, which shows how much research and lore it probably has about urban shit. Now that this section is wrapped up, there are just a few random things to talk about that fits in. Wow, I've never talked about this one in a long time. Infestation! Okay, I'm done. It's a radioactive shark that, is eyes from doors. However, a few urban ship personnel experimented on the shark before the lockdown. Although as it was successful, the shark faced serious side effects, like having insane radiation under growth of eyes. After the threats were discovered, urban ship personnel found a cure. Just don't look at it and cover it completely from your face, and you're practically good. However, those who did look at it faced severe radiation damage, so the damage we take from this eyed radioactive shark is radiation coming from an experiment. Now the complete opposite here is this creature, and I know the name of it, the Corpse of Guardsman, redacted. Now before we dive into other expeditions lore, I think it's worth talking about these 2 documents, the Lunar Dock and Transpeter, since they are a bit cool. First, the Transpeter are these giant looking robot things that are thousands of studs in height and are not meant to crush a player but can. At these rooms, not in the end, where the Transpeter actually helps you, you see there are 4 Transpeters with assigned names. Lucy, Leon, River, and Rose, who are named after some pretty mentionable stuff, like the Shade's cat or this dude who died at the Bandlands, which does indeed have some crazy lore we'll get to, as it is a separate expedition. Now, these transmitters are mobile oil rigs basically, which makes sense because Urban Shell wants to be rich, and most importantly, they appear it is not guaranteed transmitter room. Although it is huge, it does save a few rooms, and I've never got to document it even though I encountered this room like 5 times. Literally, it's too easy. The lava one's a bit tricky, but you can handle it. Now, the Lunar Dock. It's safe to say that this is a pretty cool room in game, but the lore seems a bit nonsense. Basically, you go in this tram which can lead you to anywhere from oxygen gardens to grand encounters, which is guaranteed, but seeing this be possible in this display right here proves it. Now, according to the lore, it is undeniably distinct. Basically, I was too lazy to read carefully because of how irrelevant this was. You load up a cargo ship in this area and get resources, and as to where this aluminum gravity falls company, I don't know, but because the company wanted too much money, the experiment failed. Bruh. The Weeping Angel Crooked, bro, or the Corpse of Guardsman redacted, fell into a sort of reverie and catched a parasite, which is reverie, but that severely changes looks and brain, meaning that this is why you look crooked. And he also revived. Stage 1 and 2 is not that deep, but it does change a bit. Stage 3 is things where really start to change. Right now, I think the students at stage 3 referee, and it's a little bit more invincible, as said what they will do at stage 4 and 5. He's incredibly dangerous as the prey now looks at him. He'll charge at undeterminable speeds and deal damage. He's also kind, since at the end he sets things up for you right after he did take damage from him, waits patiently for you to complete a task, and even salutes if you successfully escape. Now this creature, which is stage 4, he's going to be even more invincible, and a 91 laser has to go to his head to at least do something. However, when it reaches stage 5, it's way more expensive to even terminate them rather than deleting this black side out of existence, so they do that. Dang, this is pretty cool lore for one person indeed. Still can't believe we have 27 or more documents to cover. Since you guys are getting pretty bored, I'll just cover 6 more documents and kind of smush them together. Yeah, the final document for the 100 expedition, yes there too, is the rebar of this freaky looking dog with a head and legs that is 1 millimeter wide. You see a few officers found this thing from emerging from a while in the apartment complex, and there was only one survivor. After some research done from Urban Shade, just flash a lot at it. Bouncers, or the skeleton-looking dudes, take place in Scotland, and now I understand why they're so British. Our mission workers found out that they got the graveyard event in the redacted graveyard hosted by, I don't know, them or this giant skeleton dude, and they're skeletons with a fancy little suit on, and they're only freely advanced skeletons. Other than that, if humans sneak in, the bouncer gives off its classical line,
You are violating the dress code!
and they chase you. They can also do themselves, which is pretty weird, and if they kill you, you're done for. Good thing though, you're part of the party now. Once again, it was discovered at the animal graveyard event. This time it looks like it was discovered in the catacombs, or a more distinct part of the graveyard, and it looked like a huge skeletal centipede with cattles on its head. When operators discovered them, they realized that they only stay in water, and for some reason really sucks at turning. So if you want to practice juking, you just find it. Finally, you know these guys, right? Its counter boots are this giant 22 stud tall or 35 stud tall, totally not human and living statue with a cattle on its head, but smarter. You know the point. They're worse than many years line, but how was the cattle bear and cattle boot discovered? They went there again. This time in the lower parts of the graveyard. In fact, lower than the catacombs. They discovered statues that were actually living and a crack in their counterparts that grows and ages as time's on. They found a smaller one in 2007, but a way bigger crack in 2024. These were cattle bearers. Urban Shade also noted that using light sources would freeze them as it sort of burns their heads, and will try to attack people with light sources, not the ones who are poor and can't afford one. Other than that, the small ones are totally friendly. For the cattle boots though, not so much. When Urban Shade explored deeper in this part of the graveyard, they found 3 giant statues of cattle bearers. In short terms, they're cattle bearers, but stronger, bigger, and with even more cracks. Now this time, cattle boots are totally not friendly and go for any human being, even ones without light sources. It's like the mothers of cubs, where cubs are harmless and are just learning, and the mothers are savage mode. I can finally say that this chapter is finally ending, as we can talk about 2 final things: the Badlands and Sebastian and Painter. Which one do we start off with first? You see, Painter was found at a random ass house where a few Urban Shade employees bursted into it, absolutely violated the owner of Painter, and captured it. Painter was a computer program designed to draw things, but Urban Shade got jealous and took matters into their own hands. Now they captured it and forced it to mine Roblox, a cryptocurrency for Urban Shade. Sebastian, on the other hand, was reached out by Painter, who wanted to leave the black side and needed help. Now Sebastian realized that he wasn't the only one and immediately accepted a deal. So now they're working, but he's trying to escape. But here's when the lore turns a bit. Once again, the reason why Painter hijacks Navi AI is because this program wants to delay the retrieval of the crystal as much as possible, which would really help Sebastian and Painter. They even decided to team up with a company that is inspired by a Roblox game called Innovation Labs or Inc. And when you find this room at the ridge and jump down, you'll see a reference to Innovation Labs in Dock 218. Dock 218 was where Sebastian will go to get to Painter, and I have no idea how we somehow moved here, although it's a computer. Basically, this is the dock where Innovation Inc. will come and rescue Painter and Sebastian instead of the player. Now we can see that this is the most reasonable crash out of any Roblox video game. But at the end, Sebastian vaporizes and these lines pop up. They will forget, you serve a purpose bigger than you realize, stick to the script. Or other ones, of course. But the person who's saying this is Mr. Lopi. He is a villain of pressure, since there's a chance that faint eyes of him will appear when he meets Sebastian after your death. But here's where it gets low accurate. This badge, which I may have forgotten to say to you guys, sorry, is called Mysterious Benefactor. It is given to players who see Mr. Lopi for the first time, who will catch you up, and or is basically glitched from Roblox doors. Now, if you're searching what Mysterious Benefactor means, it's basically a secret identity or person that's working for a company. Because you have seen Mr. Lopi quite close to Sebastian a couple of times, he's actually working for him, and the job? He resets the timeline. Basically, when the crystal is achieved or a player dies but changes a bit or a black side, like destroying Painter but falling into a pit, Mr. Lopez like nuh-uh and returns the previous form of the black side, basically making this game impossible to beat lore-wise. But when he vaporized Sebastian, Mr. Lopez wanted to reset a timeline and bring him to his original form and forget everything. Meaning after he did that, Painter was returned and he probably got her heart back, and the message Mr. Lopez sends to you makes me think he's trying to help you and them too. It's also further proven when Sebastian shouts out, "What? What do you want?" right when the theme of Mr. Lopi plays, indicating that he met Mr. Lopi before. But now that we stepped from some crazy lore inspired by glitch from doors, we have some 2 more documents to uncover that will finish this chapter in a whole another world. Just like how Mr. Lopi acts unreal and a viewer of time. The Badlands, aka Hell for people where people to go when they die in this game, has 2 documents that I know of: the Guardian Angel and the Lady Death, all part of the subdivision NOST, which literally have some intense lore within the game. Firstly, we got Lady Death. She's a fireman, but her lore is kinda sad. So her husband used to be a fireman and revive people or bring them to hell or heaven. However, during a battle or with the Guardian Angel or this giant protector of the Badlands, he died. Lady Death's husband died. The ferryman itself. I mean, if the ferryman dies, what the heck does he go? After that, Lady Death took matters into her own hands and she took her husband's role, becoming prouder and greater than ever. And she even does a slight thank you to those who met her in order to show pride for what she's doing. Now you know her cycle, however. I forgot to mention one part where she got me the most. You see, you can revive twice in this game or pay 30 Robux in a second revive, and she beats you up and gives you an antidote. Fair. Oh, this is where it gets interesting. I kinda did save this for the final one since this document is because this document in general literally has like 25,000 words in it. But let me explain, since I read through this one thoroughly this time and I know a lot about it. Probably one of my favorite documents of the entire game. The Guardian Angel of the Badlands, not Guardian Angels, it's the main protector of the Badlands. When discovered in 2006 in the first expedition of the Badlands, the expeditionaries discovered their first hurdle that stopped them, the Guardian Angel. They decided to call it a day and run back into Earth since the Guardian Angel did not want it to run across the Badlands. However, she stepped on an expeditionary and this caused controversy. Insane controversy. Now Urban Shade took matters into their own hands and made 4 Heaven Piercer tanks! 4 Heaven Piercer tanks! What? To take revenge for one's soul. Dang, I feel bad, not gonna lie, since she got her torso removed. But hey, she killed an expeditionary. She's totally dangerous and I mean it. Once they brought it back to Earth and studied her with a lower torso basically vanished and a lower energy upper torso, it looks like they went too far. Speaking of too far, actually, the Guardian Angel of the Badlands is harmless to any human being, which made me even pissed off about Urban Shade. The Guardian Angel was harmless. She stepped on him by accident, and she even felt sorrow. I don't know what Urban Shade decided to do after they realized that, but I hope they do something good for it, like repair. That's not possible. To start this off, there's some entities I missed. Of course, I'm not going to talk about all of them, but these 2 I want to remove. Let me do a quick recap. For Squirrel, some Urban Shade workers found it when the power went down on a cargo ship, and basically found 80 to 99% of the people on it. They found about 600 roaming in the dark hours of them, and Urban Shade studied them. They locked the dark, crashed on the people trying to ladder get too close at it. For Puddles and Void Mask, but why did he even add this? About an hour and a half through the lockdown, something wasn't turned off that I had to do these on accident, and their cells formed and duped in these lockers. Normally these would evaporate, but the new ones did not. Do not go in the purple locker. After we're done with lore here, no cap, I literally had to write 15 pages about all that, and all the documents is like 84 pages, which I can never explain since I'll fall asleep within 19 seconds. But this chapter only talks about my experience about the game, playing each update and exploring it, nothing else. When I finished watching Thick Noodle's video about pressure, I tried to play it for myself until I saw this. So this is when pressure finally released and I started to play it. And oh my god, it blew my mind. It took me around 11 days to beat the game, which is a perfect difficulty for a pressure noob but Doors Pro, and my opinions about this game only started to create itself on my first day of playing the game. While I was reading this, I knew that it would be a huge challenge to finish this game. So how was my first run? I can explain. Attempt 2 went 15 times better, as I managed to reach door 48, but unfortunately died to an angler. I could have reached Sebastian. Also, these are sewer rooms? Damn, how did I find sewers in my second run? If you don't know, the sewers are gosh dang it the worst room types in the game. Terrible for lockerless, disgusting, but somewhat rare. Pretty happy Urban Shade removed it. As I went through attempt by attempt, I finally made it to Sebastian. And got excited and bought it stock. In that exact attempt, I encountered searchlights and then I died immediately. So there wraps up the day. I pretty much got addicted to playing this game because the video was set to release on Friday. I was pretty much confident that I would beat this game throughout this time. Or did I?
So close, you nearly had it.
No! It was Friday. I had finished editing, but I hadn't beaten the game. However, in this attempt, I had finally made it past searchlights. Although I had 25 HP, meaning that one squirrel could potentially one-shot me, I was cooking and successfully made it to the ridge. I was smiling, full of joy that thinking, now I'd win. Let's go! But when the lights turned off and I heard a Frogger, my anxiety came back. This time, far worse. And not even 2 more doors throughout the ridge, I died. But I still never gave up and my appreciation for this game rised. You see, I could have revived, but when I saw this, I don't know why I 100% thought that I couldn't. I even missed my chance to revive. Yes. Bro, I'm such an idiot. So I had no choice but to add that footage, upload, and call it a day. On Saturday, I had a rich streak of 2 because I made it there again. Bro, I was literally sweating like crazy and not liking this gameplay. Back then, pressure used to be so freaking stressful, but in the recent updates, maybe that changed tremendously, or because I'm experienced, I don't know. But around door 110, the PDG got me, which if you don't know, is a prisoner tank that explodes when the prisoner quote-unquote breaks the rules for too long. But the stupid painter got access to it and killed me! But I don't think that was Peter since it was before the friendly fire update, but whatever. These attempts, I did not make it to a ridge. Crazy. I didn't make it by searchlights, but died to the stupid minigames guy. However, 6 days after I posted that video, this happened. You know how much I had of this game. Back then, it was so stressful, but I considered the visuals and themes the most realistic and best out of any Roblox game. Greatest is another story, but this was quality, and it only got 35k concurrent players, then 50k, and then it flopped. Anyways, back to the run, I had successfully made it past searchlights, and finally, I made it past the ridge. I thought I had won, but apparently, I had to do more searchlights. This time, in the left van zone. You know, when I started to hear this music, my anxiety went away. I started vibing and vibing until... What? There's another one? So it quickly got to a stress game, and I know that for sure. And when this third one came, I literally want to punch Urban Shade for making me do this. But when I fixed all the generators and powered the external repellent cannon, who named that, all I had to do was to go back. At first, I was confused. Why was there a fourth one? But then I quickly realized what to do. It took me over 15 minutes to even get past because of how stressful this was. Like literally, if I died there, I would have never played this game again and not even made this video for you guys. Then I saw a searchlight get crushed and I finally beat the game.
The black side. Oh my gosh. Okay. Then I close this. The fact I beat this game. Press any button to continue. gosh, we finally did it! We finally did it! Thank you for playing. Let's go!
3 days later, I wanted to make a video about it and won again since the stream was way too laggy when I beat it. I recorded it at 30 FPS, which at the time I would usually use. Well, now we stick to 50 or 60, but I did manage to beat the game a second time and have 2 wins. I thought my mission would be over, but on August 9th, Treasure updated again! On the same day, I had to upload 2 videos, Friendly Fire and Door's 2-year anniversary. Stressful, right? But I just realized I had to make another one soon. So I got murked by Sebastian, encountered Godnet, and that's it. But what was the graveyard like? Well, for me, other than all the bugs, I had a blast. Well, considering the fact that this update was sort of controversial, I won't really talk about my experience that much. It took me a few attempts to win, really hated the Skellipedes and Cowbears, but other than that, really liked the gameplay and had a lot of fun. You see, it was December, not any type of December though. Every 5 years around winter time, I visit my family on the other side of the world, but 95% of Roblox games that time really like to update big that month, including Pressure. On December 14, 2024, Pressure updated, and I also liked this one and hated it. It added a stupid cattle bears and made an actual bigger one, which is crazy. And these rooms for some reason extended like 15 rooms. But they added some cool docks and sea bunnies and items. But other than the lower expansion, room expansion, and actual endless mode, this update felt nightmarish to me.
No.
Goodbye.
No.
And that disconnection is what pissed me off the most. You see, I had died twice that run, and no, I didn't get any refunds. And the second one, I forgot to look up and see how good my hiding spot was, so it was completely on me. I was also playing endless mode where HQ was absent, and you were forced to go on an infinite path since you were not assigned to the crystal if HQ was absent. You can also call it failed black side mission. There's a badge for reaching door 100 or more, but I got disconnected for at door 92. Meaning, if it wasn't for that, I would have stayed 2 whole days. After I had finally got the badge, I died at door 110 to Pinky and got disconnected at 144. But still 144 at the other side of the world is a huge achievement for sure. I had also faced some stressful... Go! Oh my god! Get out! God, I really hated playing this update, but it did make the game way better and gameplay quality as well if I was playing at my home. This has literally been one of my least favorite playthroughs of Pressure. I didn't even get to the vault, nor even knew what it was. There were 3 entities: Corpse of Guardsmen, Pipsqueak, and Rebarb. Not gonna lie, it was stressful. I had to be on full focus mode since this game can TP, acts like a literal hard mode weeping angel, at least waits for one task to be done. But here we got Rebarb, which requires little to no reaction time, and Pipsqueak, which is absolutely terrifying and comes with the light flicker with only 1 Q and less time. When I finally got the token, I was done. I know it only took around an hour, but I was finished. I didn't even get to see the new minor update the Halo Blackside had. What was my reaction to the biggest update yet? Well, the exact reason why I'm making this chapter is to further prove how good this game is by using my examples of gameplay and how I liked it. Is that a good reason? But my reaction to this update was priceless. The amount of things they added, the amount of useless bugs they fixed, the amount of content they modified or added, felt like I was dreaming. Never have I thought that a part 1 out of 4 of an update was literally the biggest update of Pressure as of now, and they really dedicated themselves a lot. At first, I was already feeling it when the first room rolled it in. I also realized that the rooms are going backwards, which might be a little confusing, but lore-wise, it makes a whole lot of sense. My first ground encounter was the Success ground encounter. When I entered that room, I thought of how cool that was. I didn't even think it was a ground encounter until I went to the tram and heard this. Yeah, and since search lights got revamped, I was scared and died. Second attempt, I breezed through the rooms and made it to the Abomination ground encounter. When I was going underwater, I could already tell it was Abomination because I'd already witnessed it in the newest trailer.
Oh, yo. Oh, it's lagging, bro. What do I
I
do?
don't know how I did that first try, but okay, moving on. I didn't have to leave because my run was kind of dead. I was at lower battery there, and there it was a cattle board, and I sort of had to leave. The next day, I put in a couple more attempts, and I'd also witnessed the firewall ground encounter, which I hadn't even made halfway through.
What do I do?
Oh,
What do I say, bro? Oh, bro, this isn't fair, bro.
but during those attempts, I destroyed Painter.
Okay, you've made your point. I'll leave you alone. I'll leave you be.
But in that run, I'd already died because I fell into the wrong firewall elevator. Mr. Loki left this for me, and I could not revive. But in this one, I destroyed Painter, went to 13 rooms, made it to the Rich Past, and witnessed this.
Sebastian.
Like, this is amazing. A separate ending
what is
adding
happening?
so much to the lore makes this game golden.
Everything you
The next day, I would finally make it to the revamped Search encounter. I didn't know how it looked, but it was easy enough. I was also vibing to the music hard. I think I got nervous at the ending point since I understood what to do, but I thought I would die very easily. By some miracle, though, I made it. I witnessed a 5-minute ending cutscene.
What's my password? Type my password.
But, well, you already know my reaction. Okay, well, this wraps up this chapter. I mean, my reactions obviously show that I love this game. So Roblox Special has come a long way, and once again, this game is a masterpiece. It should get way more than 20k players, but not that many people are interested in why I'm playing it. Like, why am I getting tempted to play a run now? Why? Anyways, I'm going to recap this entire video in this chapter, so you can skip this part if you want. Anyways, Pressure is a Doors fan game that has amazing graphics, storyline, and just saw it right there. I have to say the music is fire, the animation is well done. We have to give it to the devs. Anyways, you'd start off with a dock, open the next door, use your keycard, and traverse through all 150 rooms. You go until you reach room 7 where you encounter your first ground encounter. Even Abomination, which I would rank as the easiest, Switch which I would rank as the second hardest, and Firewall, which yeah. You go through more rooms until you reach Sebastian, aka the guy who turned this place into an absolute mess. Buy items with whatever research you have and you're headed to the next ground encounter, which are either one of these three. And then the gameplay gets harder from here until you make it to the Rage aka Greenhouse, where it gets even harder. No one ridicules your silence, and once you make it to the final part of the entire game, the search lights, ground encounter, underwater, you fix all the cables, turn on whatever this thing is on, and quietly leave. Then you will get your win. So that's how the entire game goes. It's quite easy if you master this game, unlike Doors 4 2, where you master even more and get more stressed out. I'm not hating, by the way, Doors is still a really good game. So you're not done yet. You decide you want to hop on these expeditions. While in the graveyard, Gally shut down his party in front of 6,000 skeletons, I think. You would first get chased by a totally not British skeleton because you're not a skeleton. You make it through 10 rooms, and you have to go to 2 more sections with around the same amount of rooms. Now you see this guy, which looks like a skeleton centipede. Why was this even added? You're done with this room and been juking this dude a million times. Now face the Camel Bears, again the most nightmarish part of the game, because the ambience is literally a soundtrack and called a nightmare. Get it? You're back here only to listen to the same drama as the Searchlights. There are 2 of them now, but it's quite straightforward. Don't worry, and you're done with the rapier once you nibble the switch. Easy stuff. But what about the hunter? Well, sometimes stress can beat fun. Although it's not the case for more of the black side in the graveyard, this thing tops it out. You go through 40 rooms by watch being chased by this freak who's literally whipping onto You must follow someone's cues no matter what, like him going inside a locker, but not when he jump scares you in front of events. Some doors later you might see this four-legged freak, which you must flash with it. You know, not the hardest part. There are no breaks and the spawn rate is absolutely trash. And the one way to heal is not so rare but also rare antidote. To be honest, it just add quite a lot to the lore. As based on the storyline, you're an MRP or middle rank prisoner while playing this expedition and it's EXR-P or expandable if you're playing the Halo Black Tie expedition, but whatever. I still understand why it went down by 1.5%. The vault is literally the most complicated thing in the game. You must find 4 numbers in the lobby and use them to get yourself a decoder. You must also tune 5 of these radios that say more lore, but that doesn't matter since we already know it. And each of these will display a random code in your decoder. That's not a number. This game though, and with that you can enter the code once you go to the secret door and face the vault. This is basically the main expedition except it's a mantle extraction area and you have to collect these orbs which increases the difficulty more and more until you collect all of them, which will make you the star of the show. And now you fall into this wormhole of a hole drop and complete the vault. Only 2 sentences or 3 or 4 or 6. There you go. Gosh, that was not funny. 2 sentences is very straightforward. You got your submarine and you have to go through a Halo Black Site failed mission because they can't contact you. This means you have to go through endless doors and there isn't ever an ending. However, things can get wild like meeting Baldia door 1000, but still, how do you reach door 1000? Even the endless batch for reaching 500 says that itself. But moving on. Now that I explained how each expedition goes, this chapter is purely my opinion. I'm gonna prove the title right by listing out pros and cons of Pressure and how it compares to the similar games like in its genre, like Doors, The Foundation, and even games that are pretty popular. Roblox Pressure has a lot of things in this game that is the reason why it's my favorite about all horror games. First of all, the graphics are obviously lit. The lighting and everything, editing designs, theme, and even the water. It just feels immersive. The second thing they really did a good job on is obviously the lore. I'm pretty sure you guys know how important lore is to horror games, as is the reason why players are interested here. The lore to this game is amazing. You would see every single document you found or what you died to in the lobby. And these starting words you could see once you join the game for the first time is the reason why you're even here. And I can't complain. They went full creativity mode on this, and speaking of creativity, the third thing they did is obviously going full creativity mode. Like, I heard that Pressure has about 1,000 unique rooms. That's right, 1,000? That is nothing compared to all the floors in Roblox doors. They also have so many freaking details. Like 10 million assets, and like, I have no words. And if you're talking about rooms and how it has 1,000 rooms, I said unique rooms, idiots. They have dedicated themselves to a 5-minute ending cutscene. Like, what? And then we got soundtracks. There are literally 60 soundtracks and about 20 to 30 of them give out the vibes, man. And this game only has been out for a year. Some gives me just chills and some gives me the chills to as how much I'm in shock of how good this is. I gotta give it to the devs, man. There are like 5 or 10 of them that work hard for the Russian community. There are also many more who give ideas to make models, soundtracks, and other assets for the devs. Like, this team is so organized. And that's it for the pros. I mean, there are obviously other stuff like how they add 1 million stress units to the players, but I am speechless. For the cons, there's only one. It adds so much stress that sometimes, when you for a 1-hour run, you don't finish the game until the next day. Don't fear death, fear failure. It's literally the truest thing the HQ said to me, man. But if you're determined and don't give up on things, you want to do another run even if you die at the final social encounter. Other than that, I don't think there's any other disadvantages that I could think of. But yeah. Anyways, I'm done with pros and cons. Now it's time to compare Roblox Pressure to other games. First talking, we got Doors. Roblox Doors can be better, and that's completely reasonable since it had modifiers and that 1 second enjoyable ambience that takes up 90% of all ambience in your minds. not hating, but in comparison, Pressure can absolutely beat up Doors, but in other terms, Doors can take the win. Pressure has 2 game passes, and I think Doors has only 1. Just to let you know, this is before Doors gets his biggest update of all time, and before Work the Way Part 2, 3, and 4. So before you start shouting at me before I'm wrong, check the date of the video. Hopefully it will be released sometimes before these updates. Pressure is also pretty customizable, like Steve skins if you have the Game Pass, more stats to show up, and jumpsuits. While Doors is barely even nothing in terms of customization besides UGC items, but maybe the new Outdoors item could fix that, since I heard it's adding item skins and modifier history. Now it's time for replayability for the big 3 or 4. Yes, replayability. Doors, Pressure, and the Foundation, and Grace. If you don't know what the hell the Foundation is, just click on whatever's on the screen right now, unless you're on the TV or in the description. Same with Grace. Now, Roblox Pressure has non-bad replayability, while Doors can vary depending on the floor. If it's the hotel, it's right in the middle. Any other floor, yeah. Now, the Foundation, I heard it's got an update, but the replayability is not that good, since most of the time the game is bugged out and you make it really far into the bugs. And also, the ad is unnecessarily difficult, which might increase the potential. For Greystone, why didn't I write the script of it? It's insanely fun, so replayability is maxed out 10 out of 10. Has a few modes, and although I don't play it, the moment I return I might be addicted to it 24/7. For visuals, I think Doors Floor 2 wins. I know, Pressure has insanely good visuals, but Doors Floor 2 hits the realism even more. The Foundation, it's a pretty good, but I don't think it can reach Doors Floor 2 nor Pressure, but Pressure gets a second place or ties with Doors. Finally, the storyline. Foundation, I don't even think it has an associated storyline or takes it from Doors. Roblox Doors is also bland. Like, the only hero I can think of is Guiding Light, and all these other types of lore having a different reality coming from the text, and it's some very intense grumble and seek lore. Roblox Special, on the other hand, 42 documents, everything about its story are all around the game, and once again Pressure wins. Oh, and if you're yelling at me about include Grace in more things, well, in terms of quality, it's amazing. Look, I didn't really play the most recent update, but what I know, there are more enemies in this game than Pressure, and it's insanely fun. It's basically Roblox Source plus Maximum Overdrive, but the reason why I didn't put it here is that, in my opinion, you can yell at me all I want because I didn't really play the game. It is amazing. The replayability is also the best out of any game listed here, but Pressure? So in comparison, Pressure shatters it, and now we have one more thing to talk about. These games. They're little simulators or low quality story games that are actually fun to play, but take an insane amount of time to beat. And I'm sorry about Pressure, but it will never surpass these games. Hey, I didn't makes it to the top 150 experiences with the highest player counts. Anyways, we're done with the final chapter of this video. To recap, the Hill Blackside is hard and all the other expeditions are easy. I talked about pros and cons, with the pros being how creative the devs are. An honorable mention to the devs, obviously, absolutely fire soundtracks, and the only con being how nervous people get through this game. I also compared it to other games like Roblox Doors, the original, and Foundation, and Roblox Pressure shatters it. These are my opinions, so you can hate on my opinions to whatever you want at it, and list your opinions about Pressure too, since I would really like to hear them. So we're done with this video, and the reason why I made this video is to prove how Roblox is actually not a kid's game and has some content that has actual effort. I decided to use Roblox Pressure as an example since it dominates the category, and literally talking about every single detail of it. I had so much fun writing the scripts for this video, and I'm here to say it's gonna be a long one to edit this since there are over 50 pages worth of scripts. But maybe that's me. If you made it this far, I would like to thank you for supporting this game on my channel, since although I put a lot of quote-unquote pressure into my content, I'm still at 1.5k subs, which to me sounds like the amount of disappointment I would have to the YouTube algorithm if I was Sebastian and killed Painter, but still. Thank you for watching this video. I hope you know how Roblox Pressure is literally one of the rare gems that kept Roblox 4 moving and inspired many devs. And wait, I don't think I listed a fact yet. Oh yeah, forgot one more thing. For the cons, this one almost didn't make me upload this video. Door 30.